Hi, my name is Dennis Siri. I am Executive Director and founder of the New York City Independent Film Festival, Independent in Spirit, International at Heart, and this is the New York City Independent Film Festival Meet the Filmmakers podcast. Join us while we meet this year's filmmakers. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, welcome to this episode, and today we have Hanna and Dawn from the film Farvæl, Goodbye. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
I am Hanna Elisa, and I am the producer and artist and actress behind the music video Farvæl, Goodbye.
My name is Dawn. I'm based in Copenhagen, but I'm originally from England, so hence the British accent that you picked up on, Dennis. I am an actor turned film director, writer. I've been in the industry since 2012. When I moved to Denmark, I started doing like extras work and just thinking, oh, this could be kind of fun to get into the film industry. And then I went on to do theatre, and then I got my acting education, and in 2019 started directing theatre plays and making my own short films. So I'm an indie filmmaker, and this is my first music video, but I've got other short films as well.
Great. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so what made you want to be a filmmaker? You can, in any order you want to answer.
Initially, I think because it was, I was told I had talent, but I wasn't really getting any gigs, and not any castings, especially not in Denmark, I guess, being in a different language than my mother tongue. So I figured if I was going to make it, in this country, then I would need to carve out a place for myself. So the first thing I made, which got me into filmmaking, was a TV series pilot. That I of course starred in because I wanted to be the actor. And I need to pitch that to a few places. But it was essentially because there just wasn't anything for me as an actor. In my 30s was when I got my education. So I got to direct more things. This is actually my 8th project, but my first music video. And I was on set, working a lot on short films, small B-rolls in feature films and stuff. And I was watching the directors and the crew, and I was thinking, I'm pretty sure that's something I can do. I have like a teacher's background. And so essentially it's about like having an idea and be able to break it down, make it amenable and understandable for all of the different parts of the machine involved in the crew and the actors. So yeah, I just thought, well, I'm going to set my mind to this. And more recently, I finished my biggest film yet, actually, which is 30-minute long, and it's got a lot of difficult issues in it about being foreign, being a woman over 40, not being straight. Yeah, all that kind of juicy stuff, really. So filmmaking for me is about having some kind of outlet for all of the sort of difficulties or intrigues and trials and trepidations that I have as a human being on this earth, somehow trying to, I think it's like a therapy, like trying to work them out in some way.
Yeah, that was great. You answered half my questions, but that's cool.
I went on too long. Okay.
It's good. It was good. That was great. No.
Yeah. Well, I made this video because I have also been in the acting world for quite a while, and I have this vision that I want to make a feature film in the Faroe Islands around a female choir. And I thought to myself, okay, if I have to make a feature film, I have to start or have tried to produce something first. So yeah, exactly, a smaller amount, or a smaller project. So that's why I started this project, and I wanted to combine my love for music and my love for acting. And when I make something, I wanted to be able to touch every person, regardless of where they come from or what language they speak. So that's why having grief as a theme, sorrow as a theme, that's like a universal feeling no matter where you are. And it was one of my strongest songs, and it resonates with a lot of people. So I thought, okay, here's something I can work with. Here's something that can touch people everywhere. And then I've known Dawn for a while, and I know that she's really good at what she does. And the filmmaker, or the DOP, I worked with him a few years back, and we've talked back and forth for years about doing something. And then finally there was this project that could go somewhere. So that's, yeah, that's why I actually made this movie, to get some experience, to try to produce something. And when I do something, I don't like going half in. So I'm glad it has been so well received so far, at least.
So is this your first foray as a filmmaker?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so when you said I want to be a filmmaker, what did your friends and family say? They say, "Oh no, go be an accountant, go become an engineer," or were they supportive and say, "Oh great, you should do what you love"? What was their reaction?
I'm also a physiotherapist. And when I studied physiotherapy, and then I took a break from that education to take an acting school for half a year. And that was not super well received. Most of my family was like, well, finish your education first, then you can do all that. And that's a few years back, that's in 2015. So when I started this, when I actually made my own project, people weren't against it. They weren't directly supportive either. It was just more like, well, you do you. We've learned that you're going to do it anyway, so go ahead.
For my family and friends, it was kind of like, yeah, of course you are, like obviously. It just seemed like the natural progression, because, as I say, actually, I don't know if I was clear, but I started my acting education when I was 32,
Right.
and that was already quite late, really. So it was just a natural progression from acting and directing theatre and stuff. They were like, yeah, of course you should do that. Very supportive.
Well, what did they say when you first said you want to be an actress? Because that was at 32, so obviously that was also late.
Yeah, I mean, I had a boyfriend at the time who was very supportive, and my family were just always the same. We have this kind of notion in our family that it will all just work out one way or another. Just go for it. You only get one life.
So where you are, do you have a tribe, a group of filmmakers, like your go-to people who keep you sane, keep you happy, keep you in your artist space? Do you have that where you are?
I do. I'm very lucky. I have a very nice network, which I've worked really hard to build, but also a lot of people have become really beautiful friends. The DOP on my last movie, for example, not Hanna Elisa's movie that we did, although I do know that DOP also very well, and he's brilliant and lovely. But the guy I just used on my last movie, he's also a personal friend, and we go out for pizza and red wine and talk about everything between technical things to creative ideas. I would like to work with more international, non-Danish DOPs and directors. I would like to actually have a director that I could shadow. And I've started considering writing and getting into contact with some of the people I admire over here, and try and shadow some more directors.
And Hannah?
Well, I'm not mute. Yeah. I have some people, yeah, that I turn to when needing to get the creative on, or I could say. I have very diverse friends in very diverse fields. But yeah, I have a lot of the people that I work with are people I went to school with back in 2015. and people I've met on different sets, being an extra or being an actress or being a runner or being whatever I've been. So it's all these small connections through all the things I've done over the years that I then pull on when I feel that they could do a function that I need for the production that I'm making.
That's great.
So yeah,
I asked that question. I do talk to people who are like, no, there's nobody in this country at all.
No, I think we're quite lucky. Denmark's got a pretty solid indie filmmaking scene.
Yeah, it seems to have. All right, my next question is, what made you decide, I think you kind of answered this, but I'll ask it anyway. What made you decide to make this film?
This movie was basically, I felt it was time for me to produce something. I have a lot of friends that have made short movies and such that have gone to festivals, and I always wanted to do it, but I haven't felt that I had some story to be told enough to do it. With this song, I've sung it at different open mics. I've sung it like and at private events and such, and I've seen the effect it can have on people. I've seen people get in touch, get into some kind of emotion inside of them, and the fact that it's a Faroese song, it's very simple, it's very simplistic. The only instrument is violin, and when I sing it, I only sing with my voice. I don't even have the violin there. So people get in touch with like their core grief feeling in a way, and they put their own stories onto it. So I knew the song was strong in itself, and the visuals could elevate that feeling, could elevate like the symbolism of the song, and the video in itself. There's so much symbolism in it, in the clothes, in the lighting, in the and the colors and the hair. Like there's so, I've put so much thought into this this piece, and I decided to do it, to get something done. And I want to touch people. I want to help people get in touch with their emotions, because as I've experienced, that's something that's craved a lot. We've lost touch with like the core in a way, and we've lost touch with being vulnerable when we're amongst other people. And that's why I started this process. And talking to the DOP, he was like, okay, what is grief to him? What was grief to me? And the whole idea of like, what do we go through when we lose someone? We still have to live. So my son is watching a movie, and the episode is done. Yes. So yeah, I made this piece because it was time, and I wanted to prove it to myself in a way that I could do it, and I wanted to be able to touch people and help people get in touch with their emotions. And I'm in love with the fact that this movie is also being used in sorrow groups, like for groups of people that have lost someone dear to them. They use this movie as a conversation piece. So they watch it in the beginning, and then they can talk from their experience of this movie instead of talking through their own experience or their own grief all the time. So yeah, it has meaning both in like a visual way, but also it helps people deal with their grief and starts conversation.
Okay, that's very cool. Do you have anything you want to add, Dawn? Or
I think very briefly, I'll just add that you know, when as your approach as a director to make something, you do have the choice to say no, especially when it's free. And when Hanna, Elisa approached me, you know, just the fact that she was very open to suggestion, she was very like, oh, okay, I can see that could be nice. That's really useful. And of course, I do love the song as well. I just listened to it and I was just like, oh, this is really beautiful. And having a strong team. So we had Frederick as a producer, who was new but very, very good, and Rasmus as a director of photography, who has got he's just got such an amazing eye, and he's a good guy. So it's those combis that also made me want to do it.
okay, great. So I'll ask this kind of, what was the hardest part and what was the most fun part?
Well, applying for funds, that was hard. I really wanted to pay the people working on this project. And I did get some funding, so no one had expenses in being a part of this project, and that meant a lot to me that I was able to do that. The best part was the filming days were just it was amazing. Like everything worked on those days, at least for me. Like with the weather was there, we got the locations, we got like more amazing locations than originally planned. And yeah, a lot of the shoots were outside, and the weather couldn't have been better, and people were happy, and the food worked, and I had got sponsored food from different places, so that was good. And yeah, and then the process, like the after, it was hard for me in the way that I had a lot of hats, and the like what Dawn's work wasn't totally clear to me, and what rest it wasn't totally clear who had what responsibilities. And that I've taken upon me to next time to be more clear, like having cleared out who takes responsibility of what, who has what kind of work assignments, you could say like that.
I think the easiest bit was again the weather and, you know, food, and we had like good amount of time to shoot, which is quite rare. And we had like golden hour on the beach, which was absolutely like it's just exactly what you want. We didn't have to like reinvent things in VFX afterwards or anything like that. But the hardest thing I think was post was too long, really, for me. And like technical stuff that just fudges up as usual along the way, but nothing too bad. It was, I mean, it was a pretty easy project, to be honest. It did go pretty well. Yeah.
That's great when that happens.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I guess the next question is, were you happy at the end, or did you just sit there and go, oh, we should reshoot that? Or were you, by the time you were done, you're like, okay, this is it. This is great. I'm happy with this.
I think for the fact that we had like basically zero budget and a 3-month turnaround, we did really, really well. I'm really pleased with what we've done. I think it's really interesting and high quality, and yeah, great, really good. But I do think that if I could change anything, it would be there's an underwater shot which we did with a GoPro camera in a freezing cold pool. And unfortunately, some of the footage we got from that, despite the fact that both me and Hanna were in the water pretending to be, this floating body, some of the footage is just bad. But you live and you learn, right? It could have been slightly better quality, but it was just an underwater GoPro, which didn't really fit.
Next time, for your own sake, that Canon makes an underwater camera that's good to 50 feet for like $300. So, about the same price as GoPro, but you get a lot better quality. Just so
yes. Thank you. We were using any more underwater shoots, which I absolutely love and I will do again. We'll be using that. Yeah.
Hanna.
Yeah, I am extremely happy about so I am like beyond happy of everybody's work in it, and the fact that it's my first project ever, I'm super proud. I'm super happy. Basically, I'm very happy, and I love being able to say, yes, I made that come to life.
Good. That's always a good feeling. All right, my next question is, what would you consider success in the indie world? We all know making indie films is not going to make us rich and get us mansions and yachts, and we're not going to have private jets like Taylor Swift or anybody's floating around the world. So what would you consider success?
Like for me, a success is enjoying the process on set and producing something that you are happy with and that you're proud of and that you want to share, that you actively think like, yeah, I really want this to be released. I want people to see this. And I haven't had a chance to see many people's response to it yet, of course, because it's still in the festival circuit, which is relatively closed. But I think, just having a relatively, what's the word? Yeah, like the way Hanna, Elisa described it was that it's a project and it's a piece that when people see it, hopefully what I'm anticipating and looking forward to is creating some kind of emotional response from people. So that's a success as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that we even as filmmakers even got that far where we didn't just give up in sound design or something, we're just like, oh hell, this is a nightmare, let's just not. That is a huge success in the indie world, just going, there you are, it's brilliant, it's finished, it's released within 3 months. That's also
That is quite good. Yeah. And Hannah.
Yeah, well, success in this case is definitely that it's finished. I started this process. I mean, if we go all the way back to when the song was done, is 2 years. And then it was all the process with doing the mood boards and the funding and all these kinds of things. So it's like 1.5 years of work for me. But from like production, from being on set to getting it done was 3 months. And yeah, the responses I have had are also very, very good. And the fact that we're still waiting for more festivals, but we've gotten selected for 3 festivals already, and we won one. And that was, yeah, I'm very excited about that, and that it resonates with people, even though they don't understand the language in itself. So yeah, the success is the fact that it's done, that I am happy with it, that I love showing it. And the people, they look at it and it resonates with them in one way or another. That's success to me.
Sounds like success to me also. All right. My last question is, somebody comes along and says, hey, Aunt Dawn, Aunt Hannah, I want to be an indie filmmaker. What do you think? What would be your answer? What would be your statement to them?
I think I would say go for it, but be aware that it always takes a lot longer than you ever anticipated it would. So if you're going to plan on making something, work or connect yourself with people who've already done it, who have some experience, especially a producer and or director of photography. Those 2 people are very important for you to be able to connect with and have that they already have an insight and some idea of the process. It will take huge chunks of your life to make and create whatever this thing is that you want to do. So make sure that it speaks to you, that it's important to you, because it would just be such a shame if you gave up on it halfway through, or you didn't follow through, because if you don't truly love what you're doing, because it's so hard to make indie films, it's easy to let them just go by the wayside when it gets too tough. So you have to really truly love what you're making, because it's very, 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 very difficult. But it is worth it. And how many people get to say that they've got something that they've created that is going to be around for years to come. That's, yeah, hopefully they can be very proud of, and is very beautiful in some way.
Mine is pretty short. Do it if there's no way that you can't not do it. Like, only do it if it's deal. If you're not able to not do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Actually, I always tell a little story. I saw Holland Ellison, like when I was young. I went there. I went to this talk, he said, and somebody said, should I be a writer? And he sat there and said, no, go home and work in the gas station. If you're asking me that question, you do not have what it takes. Go home, go away, leave me alone, get out of here. So yeah, I always remember that. You know, that's the question. That's the answer I have. But anyway, now that I ranted, do you guys have any last words? Any last pearls of
Any
wisdom?
last
Not quite last
Oh,
words.
God. I hope they're not my last words, Dennis.
Well, last words in this podcast. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to consider what the
It's all-
movie was.
It's all good. It's all good. I would like to just say that I think if you're not having fun with it, then you shouldn't be doing it. It's a similar thing to what you just said, I think, in a way. If you're not called into it, if you don't really feel the drive for it, if it doesn't actually make you happy and make you feel alive and give you some kind of ultrasonic, brilliant energy, don't do it. Just stay at home.
Work at that gas station.
Me, I'm super excited to have been selected in New York, especially because one of the biggest donors for the project from Kickstarter lives in New York.
Oh, great.
So that is like, I'm very, very happy that we got to be there. So that's no way of giving back so that he is able to go and watch it in his city.
All right, well, you're going to be shown Friday evening at 10:15 is going to be the music section. We always have a big crowd for that, and everybody seems to really love it. So we put a little late on Friday evening so everybody can come in after having a drink or two. But yeah, thank you guys.